Right, hello there guys and welcome to something new. This is the review after Raw. Me and Saul Vickers, as you can see on my right, I want to say. I'm not quite sure about the first time doing stuff. We're going to be reviewing Raw, the 17th of October 22 edition of Raw. We're going to go through it step by step with, they think it's going to be quite a long-ish podcast. And again, we're going to be reviewing the whole of Raw. Now I'm going to introduce you to Saul and make sure I press the unmute button. Without further ado, let's introduce Saul. Welcome in, Saul. How are we doing?
Hello there, Marshall. I'm doing well, thank you, mate. Really enjoyed Raw last night. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I actually remember pressing the mute button this time around, so we're in good stead. We're in good stead. So the start of this reviewing podcast has gone well so far. So
first time though, so that's fine.
Yeah, first time. If you like this, then make sure you drop a like, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of this. I want to make this a weekly thing because me and Saul have already spoke about it, and we already quite enjoy the idea. So we'll start with the start of Raw.
Yes, and we sort of jumped into it a bit, didn't we? Because we had Lashley in the ring, and he was sort of ranting and raving, calling out Brock. He's obviously a bit narked about losing the US title last week, which was Brock's fault, really.
Yep. Sorry.
No, you go ahead, mate.
So from Bobby going out, like as Saul said, it literally cut off straight away. We didn't even get the full intro, did we, to Raw?
No, he was just in the middle of.
I'll cut the crap.
Yeah.
What I liked about this as well is we're getting a Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar feud with no title on the line.
Yeah, that's a big thing. A lot of people aren't too happy because whenever Brock's there, I think the big thing is it's always in regard to being in the title picture, but that's not the case this time.
Yeah, like I say, having Bobby and Brock work together, I think, is amazing. Two big, massive guys, you know, they are powerhouses in their own right. And I think the best part is exactly what you said, like having Brock back in a non-title picture. But the storyline makes sense. Bobby Lashley is the only person to beat Brock this calendar year, apart from obviously Roman, right, and stuff like that. But the only person to beat him and not get revenge on. You've got your Roman and Brock matches where Brock's won, Roman's won.
Yeah.
But the person Brock hasn't beat is Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley beat him for the title.
Yes, yep. And so the fact that we're getting this now is quite interesting. And I'm not too sure at the moment which way it's going to go. Although when Lesnar came out, I thought that he was going to come out and crush Bobby again. But as we saw, that didn't really happen.
Yeah, so straight away, Bobby and Brock go straight at it, and you think straight away, you're thinking, oh, Brock's got this, no doubt. And Brock does start off on top, in all fairness, and then all of a sudden, he goes near the barricade spot, and it's Brock's favourite spot. It will always be Brock's favourite spot, is that barricade. Bobby Lashley chucks him straight through that barricade, and just absolutely decimates him. I'll tell you something, Brock jumped as well for that one. Brock
he went flying.
He went. And then a little bit after that, Brock gets back up and Bobby tries to take him over the table.
Yeah. That table, we'll probably point it out later on, but that table took a right beating tonight on Raw.
Yeah, so he tries to take him over the table. You think, oh, that's good. And then Bobby Lashley picks up Brock Lesnar with ease, may I add, and just slams him straight through the table. Didn't take anything off the table. Just went, you're going through this, whether you like it or not.
Smashed him down. And then at that point, I think a lot of the backstage staff came out, didn't they?
Yeah.
And tried to separate the two.
Yeah, and like I say, as soon as you put Brock through that table, Lashley looks very strong. It's a great hectic segment to start off Raw. And the whole crowd is literally chanting Bobby, which is weird because in this circumstance, Brock, I wouldn't necessarily say heel, he's Cowboy Brock, everyone loves him. But as soon as he got put through that table, everyone's chanting Bobby in that stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting because Brock was probably more of a face when he was fighting Roman.
Yeah.
And Bobby's been a face for a while now. So you've got sort of two faces that are going to be going up against each other.
I wonder if Brock's going to take a slight heel approach. With stuff, or does you get Bobby to take the heel approach? I mean, either way, the match should be good. They had a decent one at, was it the Royal Rumble?
Yes, it was at the Royal
Yeah, they had
Rumble.
a good match at Royal Rumble. So yeah,
Mm.
Lashley looked strong to start off the show. And then we move in to... Actually, before we go into our next match, we have a couple of bits. We get stuff saying that the OC versus Alpha Academy is next. Dexter
Mm.
Lumis and Miz contract for Dexter Lumis. Then Seth
Mm-hmm.
Riddle for the champ match. And then we have a Bray Wyatt recap and Elias Return potentially coming up in the
Yes.
show later on.
Mm-hmm.
So, on to the OC versus Alpha Academy. Now, before we do, I will say nothing against the people that do it, but I think the Raw commentary team is the weakest team out of the three.
Yes, yeah, I'd agree with you there. Corey Graves, I quite like him. I always think he's funny. Um, Kevin Patrick's still getting used to him at the moment.
Yeah.
So working with Corey, 'cause before obviously we had the three people doing commentary, but Byron Saxton is now the backstage interviewer.
Which, slight note to Byron Saxton, sorry, I thought he was amazing in a segment coming up later,
Mhm.
which I'll get on to. But yeah, I think that SmackDown's probably got the best with Wade Barrett and Michael Cole.
Yep.
And then you've got obviously Booker T down in NXT. We'll talk about NXT very quickly. We get little things for Pick Your Poison that is happening as we record this. It's tonight on NXT.
Mhm.
Pick Your Poison matches. Cora Jade, we'll get onto it later. But you've got Roxanne Perez, who got Raquel Rodriguez, and they're
Yes.
then doing the little bits for who's Cora going to pick later on in the show.
Mhm. And we find that out, don't we? A bit later.
And then, yeah, so you got NXT, you've got Booker T and Vic Joseph.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it's Vic Joseph. Again, great. My thing is, where does Pat McAfee fit in when he comes back?
I mean, we don't know how long he's going to be gone for at the moment, do we? But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes, or would he come back like as a wrestler? Because he's been doing some
Yeah.
wrestling, hasn't he?
First thing for me, OC and Alpha Academy. OC theme song slaps. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
The crowd really got into it, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they've got a really good theme song. And I'm happy to see AJ back on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been a while.
No.
AJ Styles as a presence for me, I felt, has been missed on TV.
Yeah. I mean, he's been sort of like up until Triple H took over. He was like the big sort of signing that they had, and that was several years ago. But it's been a sort of like a constant ever since he has come to WWE. So yeah, it's good to see him back on TV.
Yeah. OC, great addition to Raw, especially tag team wise. The tag teams are a bit... Well, we haven't got a tag team division really, have we?
No, to be fair, not at the moment.
Because you've got the Usos holding the titles. Street Profits, I think
Mm-hmm.
one of them's injured in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Chad and Otis are a good tag team, but
Yeah,
are they
but
going to
they've been
take...
on quite a losing streak, haven't they? And
Yeah,
that hasn't got any better
but I will
tonight.
say, the match in itself was really good. Gallows and Anderson did this tag team move, which looked amazing. Earlier on in the match, and I think as well, Luke Gallows, Big LG, looks amazing. The way he swings and does his uppercut reminds me of Kane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
His movement reminds me a lot of Kane, and I really quite like it.
can really hear sort of like the smack when he hits it.
Yeah. So then, Chad Gable needs a title.
Yeah, I mean, they really need to do something with the Alpha Academy because, like I just mentioned, they've been on such a losing streak
Yeah.
recently. I mean, they got manhandled by Braun Strowman, didn't
Yeah.
they, a couple of weeks back? And it's just not been very good for them. They
No.
definitely need a bit of a push.
Yeah.
And in a way, I was sad to see them going up against the OC because I already knew what the outcome was more
Yeah.
than likely to be.
Like I say, great match for me. I personally gave that a 4 out of 5. What did you give it, Saul?
I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it, but like I say, I was a bit meh by the fact that I was pretty sure I knew how it was going to end.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say, I do like the Magic Killer. I think it's such a good-looking finishing move.
Yeah.
A double team
It's a
maneuver.
lovely, yeah. It was a very nice finishing move.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'd say really is that we've now, so going on to it, we'll explain this a little bit more in a second, but something for me I've seen is going to kind of like go against the OC, and you'll find out in a second.
Mm-hmm.
So they win the match, and then Judgment Day come out.
Yes. Yeah, I was half expecting that, as you probably were as well.
Yeah. And Finn's voice, when he was on about too sweet, was like, whoa. And then the crowd are going, you suck. You suck. That's Kurt Angle's theme song. But they were chanting you suck chants. And Finn actually just gave a logical response, to some of the stuff AJ was saying. It was like, AJ was like, why don't you do it here? He was like, oh, come on, like that. And I love the dig that AJ sent to Rhea and the Judgment Day, because they were turning around and saying that they want a match at Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel
match, yeah,
a tag team match. And then AJ goes, oh, do you have to ask permission from your mum? To Ripley, which I thought was just brilliant. It got a really good pop. And then I actually love the work from Dom at this point, because Dom picks up the microphone and he's that kid trying to fit in. He's in the wrong environment, as we know, but he's trying to impress, and he's trying to be bigger and badder, essentially, than what he is. And I love the gimmick he's got, because he's like, oh, I'm part of the Judgment Day, yeah, I'm one of the big kids now, and he's a small kid in a big kid's pond. I love it. And then it's the relationship between him and Rhea for me, that Rhea says something, he's like, yeah, I will smash it, yeah. And he pipes up because Rhea's saying something.
Yeah, as soon as you see her whisper into his ear, you know he's going to do something that's probably not a good idea for him to do, but she's obviously egging him on and pushing him into doing things. And you can tell she doesn't actually care about him. They're just sort of like using him for their own ends.
Oh, yeah. And like I say, I think, personally, good heel work from Dom. I quite like it. I know Money B will have a go at me for saying that, but it's fine. And then AJ basically says, I'm going to do something that your dad couldn't. I'm going to slap the out of you.
Yeah.
And challenges Dom to a match later on in the show.
And obviously he wasn't going to turn it down, because although he sort of said, oh, I'm not ready, because AJ wanted to have it there and then, didn't he?
More heel work again. He was like, well, I'm not taped up. I'm not in my gear. Give me about an hour-ish. And I was like, do you know what? I quite like this, because AJ's like, I just want to beat you up. And he's like, look. And initially, what you said, he wasn't gonna. And Rhea's like, oh yeah, he'll beat you up. Oh, he'll, and he's like, yeah, I will. He pipes back up again. And then he goes, oh yeah, just give me like an hour or so. I'm not ready. I need to get geared up. And then we move on to a Seth promo.
Yes. His first promo, I think, since becoming the United States champion.
Yes. Now, I'm conflicted with this promo, because whilst he's been a great heel, and when it was coming down, he's so over. You can hear everyone doing his song. He's probably one of the most over heels in the business.
Yeah.
But I felt this promo was slightly face.
Yeah. It definitely came off that way. And like you say, he is completely over with the fans, always singing his song when he comes out. And I think it's more so the fact that he's not a face at the moment is because of he's been feuding with Riddle. I think all they'd need to do to turn him face is to just have him say the same things he's always been saying, but against a heel, and then you've got a face Seth Rollins.
Yeah. So, again, slight praise promo. It was, I did it all for you, was one of the main lines I picked up from that. And I'm like, he's literally asking people to sing his song. And I know he's supposed to be a heel, but you do feel it's kind of like a bit of face. It's like, I did it all for you guys. And you're a bit like, well, hold on. I mean, he was being like strategic. I did it for you. I tapped out for you. And even then, it's a bit like, well, why would you do it for them when you're supposed to be a heel? But it kind of alludes to earlier. One thing we forgot to mention was the OC and Judgment Day are fighting in Saudi Arabia November 5th, Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. Not surprised it's happened, because they always go for the big money matches there. So It should be good.
And then just before, like I said, we carry on with this promo, something got pointed out to me earlier today was that Carl Anderson, technically, on November 5th, has a never openweight championship match. On the
I didn't
same
know
day,
that.
he's supposed to be in Saudi Arabia for the Bloodline, not Bloodline, that's my bad. The OC versus Judgment Day match.
Well, that would be quite interesting.
So I don't know what's going to happen there, but yeah,
I suppose he could lose the title beforehand and not have to compete in that match.
I wonder
But,
if that's the way they're going to go. Saying that, though, they've only got 2 weeks to try and rectify it.
yes, yeah, so it's not a long time, is it?
Seth then turns around and says that it's main event with Riddle. So we have, again, the United States Championship in the main event of Raw, where it should keep. It should be. Because that title has been rejuvenated under Bobby Lashley. It feels like a main card title.
I mean, this was one thing that I was quite happy about Seth winning it. It's like we haven't got a world champion on Raw at the moment, with Roman having both the titles. So sort of having someone with Seth standing as the US title holder, it's like we've got a big important title on Raw.
Yeah. The main thing for me at that point as well is he's in such a good position. He can elevate talent. He can put bangers on, as we know. Seth is a great wrestler, and he can put bangers on. So now it's a simple case of who do we potentially put out to him to try and elevate. And with that, we get our next person.
Yes.
Mustafa Ali comes down.
I must admit that on my notes here, I've just got what and then exclamation marks following it, because I wasn't expecting Mustafa Ali to come out.
So obviously we had the Bobby Lashley Mustafa Ali thing before, and with that, Bobby was like, "I'll give you a title shot," and that's what Mustafa Ali comes down. He says, "Look, Bobby basically promised me a title shot. Like, I want my title shot." And Seth's like, "Well, do I look anything like Bobby Lashley?"
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. I'm thinking, okay. And then I wrote in my notes, Seth versus Ali, yes. Like,
I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to it as a match, but yeah, I was just a bit shocked that it was Ali that came out. I had forgotten that Bobby had promised him that, so now it makes a bit more sense to me.
So like, I'm quite happy because it's, instead of just ending the Riddle feud and moving on, they're intertwining it slightly. So it's a case of that, it feels like it's always happening as such. It's like, instead of being, okay, we finished this feud, then we must go on to this feud. It is something will always happen in between. You'll never always get a straightforward rivalry, and Mustafa has come down with a perfect reason as to why he should have a match, because he got promised one. Yes, it was with Bobby, but it's for the US title. Seth's laughing it in Ali's face, and then Mustafa takes the glasses off of Seth. And Seth's face, I thought, was golden.
Yes.
It's like,
it's a picture.
Insult me all you want, but take off my glasses. Shame on you. And then, great heel work by Seth. He brings him in. He builds him up, saying, "You're a great athlete. You're a great wrestler." And he builds up Mustafa Ali. He's like, "You're great in the back. You're great with kids and all this lot. You're a great father." And then as soon as he gets in, bam, punches him in the face, cleans him straight out.
Yeah.
You'd have thought, though, by the way Ali sold it, it was the Big Show's WMD. The knockout punch.
Yeah, he went down like a sack of potatoes, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Which was quite good, to be fair. And then we cut backstage because a limousine, to be precise, with some big horns on the end, suddenly appears in the parking lot of the arena.
And I had no idea who this was going to be.
Did you not?
No, I did, yeah.
I was going to say, I think, come on.
I think everyone knew who that was.
You saw those bull horns, you know. And then we go to our next match, which was Damage Control versus Candice LeRae and Bianca Belair.
Yes. And I really enjoyed the sort of entrance for Damage Control. I like their music, and the fact that whenever Bayley comes out and they're wrestling, she always joins the commentary team.
Yeah.
It was quite funny because there was no Michael Cole this time, so
But they still made
Corey,
reference.
yes, yeah, they made reference to it,
And I loved it.
Corey Graves was like, "Oh, don't worry, he's not as bad as Michael Cole."
Well, yeah.
Bailey's like, "Oh, I'll be the judge of that."
It was brilliant. Again, Joe what? Shout out to WB for this. Their theme song, are bangers. Damage Control theme slaps. Candice LeRae's theme also slaps. I really quite like, and the reception for Candice LeRae was actually really electric.
Yeah, she
had such a good reaction, which is lovely to see because I missed her wrestling. Watched her in NXT. She was brilliant. Just incredible.
Good to have both her and Johnny Gargano back, and
Yes.
both of them to be on Raw as well.
Yeah, which is quite nice. Damage Control have only been back for 80 days.
Yes, yeah, they did mention that, didn't they? And in that time, they've already won the Tag Team Championship.
Yep. I put here myself, Bailey's so good on commentary.
Yes, Bailey. That was nice to have her there in addition. I mean, if she didn't want to wrestle again and just wanted to do commentary, I'd be more than happy with that because she's so good at it.
And she was putting over Candice LeRae and Bianca, saying, "Yeah, they're great. Don't get me wrong. Like they're good in their own right, but they're not Damage Control. They're not us." And it's nice to see. Instead of heels going, "Oh, you crap, you crap, you crap," it's nice to see heels or just in general wrestlers acknowledge that they're as good as what they say they are as such. Because Bianca and Bailey obviously had the ladder match, and that was an incredible ladder match. And Bailey ultimately lost in that match, but we'll get to that later. Now, I had one issue with this match, and me and Saul spoke about it. It ends up being two, but I rectified one. The ref, so Dakota Kai or Io Sky, I can't think which one it is off the top of my head, grabbed Bianca's hair, right? The ref didn't count it.
No, this is one of the things with Bianca, isn't it? They always, I think it partially, part of me thinks it's the fact that she often uses it as a weapon, that they seem to be a bit more lenient about hair pulling on her.
Yeah, like they grabbed her hair to stop her from tagging, but the ref's not counting. He's just saying get off your hair. Hair pull in a match is a countable offence.
Yeah,
and because it's classed as dirty, so for them to actually pull her hair, he's not counting it. He's just like, oh, it's just like holding a hand, stopping her from doing a tag. Like, sometimes you just need to have that little bit of detail of count to 3 or 4 because it's a hair pull. Regardless of how long it is, a hair pull.
I mean, she was holding on to it for I think more than 5.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
she held on to it for quite a while. There was a really nice tag move from Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae. It was a suplex. So Candice drop kicked Io, I think it was. And I can't remember which one it was. But basically, Bianca had them in a suplex. Then Candice LeRae drop kicked, and instead of going for a suplex to fall on the back, she went kind of like a bit of a DDT where she was up and then dropped her down on her head.
Yeah,
and it looked lovely. That's a really nice tag move. And then here was my other moment of what's happened. I thought there was a botched monkey flip between Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai. How I was wrong. Because I listened back to the commentary and I saw a couple of posts here and there saying what a sell. And the more I looked at the video, the more I realised Candice LeRae went for a code breaker, or as Corey said, a modified code breaker. And I didn't notice that. I thought it was because the way Dakota sold looks like she should have gone over, but
into a monkey flip.
But the way she sold it was she went up as like, oh, I've just took that much damage from the code breaker, and then slammed on the floor. So I will apologise. I thought it was a botched monkey flip, and it clearly wasn't. It was a really nice sell on a code breaker.
Yeah. I will say one of the things about Bianca, I know she's like a bit like Marmite, that you either love her or loathe her, but she's got a great combination of power and agility because some of the stuff she was doing. I think she at one point she did like a hanging vertical suplex, dropped them down, and then she kicked herself back up, and she can just move around that ring. And she's not a small woman.
No.
by any stretch of the
Her
imagination.
and Montez Ford are incredible wrestlers.
Mm.
You can see they clearly work together as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as well, Bailey on commentary, which I found, was she was trying to indicate stuff. So, like, she was loud enough that the tag partners could hear her.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little kind of sleep way to make sure they know what they're doing in the match. She was like, EO, trying to shout at her because EO was trying to move off the rings and getting pinned. She was trying to shout EO to kick out, like she's a kind of concerned tag partner, like, EO, help. Whereas that could be very much used as she's trying to indicate to them EO, and it's kind of helping them with the match.
Yeah, so she was still doing that from the commentary desk.
Which is nice because you've got that helping hand. And then also the tag move from the tag champs.
Mm-hmm.
Quite nice.
Yeah, that was good at the end.
Because I think as well, one thing that we've missed, especially with tag teams, is a good tag team finisher.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this goes back to the Magic Killer that we mentioned earlier. That does look like it's a powerful finisher.
Yeah. It was a wheelbarrow kind of thing, wasn't it? They got underneath Candice LeRae, picked her up, and then dropped her backwards. Which, with having both her legs and hand tied together and dropped on her back, would cause some damage. It looks like an actual move that would cause damage.
Yeah. And while this was going on, Bailey had sort of gone to get I think it was a kendo stick from under the ring, hadn't she? But Bianca stopped her from getting in the ring and interfering. But in the process, she sort of took Bailey over the table, the same announce table that got battered earlier. And they were then both sort of out of the match. And that was what led to Sky and Kai getting the...
Sky and Kai, I like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what...
victory over Candice.
Yes.
Then, so what did you give that match?
I gave that a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, same. I give that a 4 out of 5 as well. Great match. Great to see the women on for the period of time that they was on as well.
Yeah, it was quite a long match, wasn't it? That they had there.
Then we go to Riddle backstage. He got a great pop.
Yes.
Got an absolutely great pop. Speak to one of the backstage commentators, and then he walks over because he hears the Miz screaming in pain.
Yep.
And Miz is on the floor holding his knee.
Yeah, and I think we all knew that this is a typical Miz thing where he's going to try and wheedle his way out of having a fight, especially with someone who's been tormenting him for the past sort of, 2 months now?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this was brilliant. I thought him on his, like, saying that he slipped over and all this, like, okay, fair enough. But he's tore his ACL and all this stuff. And then Mustafa comes through, holding his face. Kayfabe is alive, thankfully. And Riddle and Mustafa Ali just taking the absolute pee out of him. So like, yeah, we could call help, but we don't want to.
No.
Again, great segment. I thought that this was just brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, Miz isn't a likable person. That's his character. This is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but he's brilliant at what he does, isn't he?
Miz should always be a heel. Should never be a face. Just like John Cena. As much as we want him to be a heel, he should always be a face because he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
Anything else on this segment?
Not really. I think that was about it. I mean, we get a bit more of it later, don't we?
Yeah. Then,
this leads into the stuff with we were talking about earlier about the Pick Your Poison match for tomorrow night.
So Cora Jade is now on screens. God bless us all. Because Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, both of them are incredible. I think they're ready to be main roster already. I watch NXT myself. I love NXT. I think Bron Breakker also should be up on the main roster. Carmella Hayes. There's a lot of them. But we get quite a few NXT appearances, actually, thinking about it. So, Cora basically turns around to Rhea and says, look, I'm looking for someone to face Roxanne. Rhea's a bit like, well, they used to be buddies and all that. And it was like, well, so did you and Rhea, so did you and Raquel.
Yeah. They used to be in a tag team, didn't they?
Yeah. And then Rhea's like, yeah, I'll do it. So tonight, as obviously this recording goes out, NXT Pick Your Poison, it's Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley and Cora Jade versus Raquel Rodriguez. Which
should be a good match.
Yeah, I can't wait for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cora Jade's also really got good promo skills.
Mm-hmm.
She's great as a heel. I think it works for her. And Roxanne Perez, this is going on SmackDown again. One thing I will say is the Roxanne Perez match from SmackDown, the
Mm-hmm.
tag match was amazing. She is a great wrestler.
Yeah.
They gave her a
Yeah.
lot of time to shine to start off with, and she did well, very well. So then, well, let you take this one away to start off with.
Okay. So next we had JBL, and he came back to. The crowd were sort of really excited to see him to
Yeah,
start with, weren't they? They were sort of chanting JBL. You had Corey Graves going, "Oh, we've got a wrestling god back," and all this.
I love Cody Graves.
And yeah, and JBL gets in the ring, and they're still cheering for him. And then, like one of the first lines he says is, "I apologize for doing this in Oklahoma," and
The reaction.
almost straight away, yeah, all the sort of cheers for JBL being back disappear, and he's getting booed.
It was nuclear. It was
Yeah.
nuclear. The heat. But thing is,
Hmm.
JBL was a great heel.
Yes, yeah. I was a bit worried that when he first appeared that maybe they were going to try and do like a face thing with him,
Yeah.
but no, they sort of killed that within about a minute of him starting to talk. So that was a good thing.
And then we get I want to talk about his trousers. Like slight odd thing, but his trousers look really weird. Don't feel just me. I saw a couple people point it out as well, looked a bit weird.
I'll be honest, I wasn't paying much attention to his trousers, but I'll
There.
take your word for
Cool.
it.
So yeah, just JBL. His presence. JBL carries JBL. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you've got certain Undertaker is a presence himself. JBL is a presence. I don't think a lot of people have that anymore. Roman Reigns has this presence about him,
Mm.
you know, and JBL just has this presence. He is so good on the mic, and do you know what? He could probably still go, I reckon.
Yeah, when I was looking at him when he was coming down to the ring, and I thought, yeah, he still looks like he could have a couple of matches in him.
Yeah, it just looks so amazing. And then he actually shouts out back to an old rivalry with Rey Mysterio, which I thought was quite nice because he was like, "Oh, you
Yes.
can duck your tail and run like Rey Mysterio did over to SmackDown."
Hmm.
And they'll talk about their feud with Ray, and it's like, yeah, because Ray beat him for the Intercontinental in what record time.
Hmm.
But it was nice for him to go back onto rivalry and actually mention Dominic and Ray, and I was like, you know what, it's good to further a storyline in another
Yeah.
storyline. You know, people pay attention to other people's rivalries and matches, not just their
Yes.
own, you know. And then we get Baron Corbin, not Happy Corbin, but Baron Corbin.
The Baron is back.
My first thoughts are, okay, good. I'm glad he's back to Baron Corbin.
Hmm.
Happy Corbin was a great gimmick and he makes it work, but Baron Corbin, I'm really glad. And with JBL, okay,
Mm.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think this will probably be a start of a sort of push for Corbin. Well, I'm hoping so, and I think it'd be quite dangerous with sort of JBL in his corner managing him.
So there's a certain spot that Baron always does. He goes underneath the rope in the corner, comes back
Hmm.
under the rope, and then does a clothesline.
Hmm.
I want that to become the clothesline from Hell
From
spot
hell, yeah, that'd be good.
because his clothesline he does is good, and it does look quite effective, but he goes a little bit over rather than straight through. Whereas
Hmm.
JBL left everyone with receipts, you know, especially Blue Meanie. Let's not go into that. But he obliterated Blue Meanie back in the day. But
Yeah.
JBL here, having Baron Corbin do the clothesline from hell, as long as the
Hmm.
deep six and end of days.
Mm.
Yeah. Didn't know about Baron's attire though.
No, that was a bit on the I think it's more the fact we've seen him in like the Happy Corbin attire for so long now, and then to see him in that black was just a bit strange.
So in all fairness, he had a bit of cream on his attire. And I
Mm.
thought he was coming down in shorts. Because in the entrance, it looked like it was his skin and not the attire.
Mm.
So it looked like he was wearing shorts. And then he had his, what do you call it, the boots and knee.
Mm. Knee pads on him.
Yeah, like Carmelo Hayes. Think of Carmelo Hayes and that kind of get up. He's got that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that seems a bit weird because Corbin's never done that. And then I realised it's a bit of cream on his attire that makes it look a bit odd.
Yeah, yeah.
As I was saying, JBL on commentary.
Mm-hmm. Again, JBL's really got the mic skills to be able to do stuff like that.
But it's not like Baron Corbin's not got the mic skills.
Mm.
But I just think it's one of these. It's just JBL is a great heel and Baron Corbin's a great heel. It's a really good match, and it just gives them that bit of extra like know-how of like, look, this is because JBL was alluding to people like Dolph, would not last in the Attitude Era,
Yeah, yeah.
and Baron Corbin would.
I remember him saying something like, all these people think wouldn't be able to cope, but Corbin would have been able to, yeah.
And I just, whilst I don't agree, but whilst I think, okay, JBL and Baron's good, do we really need to go the Attitude Era route of, oh, Baron would have been good in the Attitude Era?
No.
That's been and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Attitude Era was great, don't get me wrong, and you lot may think I'm a bit too young for that. A lot of my matches were the Attitude Era that I've watched back, because I took a break between 2010 and 2014, I think it was. Because I came back at the time Daniel Bryan ended up being champion.
Okay, yeah, the WrestleMania.
Yeah. So I actually ended up watching a lot of the old Attitude Era stuff. There was one spot in this. There was a reverse suplex. So instead of obviously your head in, you land on your back, Dolph landed on his face. So he picked him up, did a suplex backwards, and it's just smooth. I love reverse suplexes. Every time I play the WWE games, it's one of my main suplexes. It just looks so smooth, and Baron and in all fairness, Dolph and Baron are great wrestlers. But again, just this one spot, the reverse suplex was so clean because it wasn't like I've got to hide my face. Dolph just ate it. Dolph was like, I'm landing on my face, get it over and done with.
I mean, I know earlier you also mentioned about Baron doing the clothesline from hell with that bit he does when he gets in and out of the ring.
Yeah.
But he did sort of, they did mention, because he hit a big clothesline on Dolph, and they said that it was sort of had shades of the clothesline from hell.
The End of Days will forever be one of my favourite finishing moves.
Always looks good when it's
a bit upset that it's been kicked out of, but at the same time, it's only been kicked out once by Drew. And if you keep it that way, brilliant. Just make sure people don't kick out of it. And my final notes really on this was Ziggler is always great, but he needs a new finisher or something. I love Dolph.
I mean, we had a couple of Corbin hit the deep six on Dolph and he kicked out of it, and then shortly afterwards we had Ziggler use the zigzag for another near fall, and it wasn't too long after that the End of Days was hit, and that was the end of the match. But yeah, definitely agree that Dolph needs something new as a finisher now.
Whilst I agree with Dolph obviously having the super kick, it's one of these that he's got the famouser, then he's got the zigzag, and then he's got the super kick. And I just don't think the super kick is effective.
No, I mean, Corbin caught it last night, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that sort of was the prelude to the end for Dolph.
End of Dolph, end of days. Woohoo! My personal opinion, 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I gave that a 3, and that was I thought the match was fine, but it wasn't anything spectacular.
Standard TV match, and you alluded to it earlier, off camera. We already knew the result.
Yeah, they weren't going to bring Corbin back with JBL as his manager, just have him lose the first match that he's in.
Yeah. So yeah, 3 and a 3.5 out of 5. The next segment is Miz again.
Yes, and his injury.
Yes. Now, is this the one where he sat in the... Yeah, it is. It's the one where he sat in the medical room.
With Byron Saxton.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Byron Saxton comes in. Miz is there screaming, my knee. Byron comes in and he's like, so we start to talk about his knee and what's the damage. And then he turns around and says, well, nobody mopped since last night, and people have seen him pour water on the floor and fall over himself. So then he's like, "Are you insinuating I will do this injury to get out of my match?" And Byron just looks and goes, "Well,
Yeah.
And then Johnny Gargano appears out of nowhere. That's Dexter Loomis. Boom, Miz shoots straight up onto his knees like nothing had ever happened.
Yeah.
His knee's perfectly fine.
And Gargano's like, "Oh no, it's only Byron Saxton."
Easy mistake. And then Byron turns around to Miz and goes, "Oh, it must be a miracle." He's like, "Yeah, well, I've got really strong genetics, really strong. I heal very quickly." Yes, of course you do, Miz. You're scared of cow. I thought this segment was great.
Showing off sort of like all Mrs. Comedy talents, and nice to have Gargano be the one that said about Dexter Loomis, because obviously they had a connection from back in NXT when they were in the way together
with Indy.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they carry that on at some point. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did, didn't they? When Dexter came back, he went back to Indy and says, "Oh, I'm on the run, but I love you. I'll come back for you."
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he comes back for real. So
now I didn't put this in my notes, but you've just made me think of something that we'll probably talk about a bit later on, because there's some more with this Dexter and Miz stuff, isn't there?
Yes. So yeah, there's two bits, isn't there? We get another promo, one segment a bit later, and then we've got the match as such.
Yeah.
Then we get it. Well, they turn around to say Bray. They recap the Bray Wyatt's return.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to Omos and MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just put on my notes. Omos instead. ...
Yes.
I don't mind Omos and MVP. I just don't think he's going to get over.
No, I still think he's quite green as well, Omos. He had AJ carrying him for a lot of time, didn't he, when they were a tag team?
Whilst I don't mind this, Omos versus Braun is, for me, two things. Either it's going to be really crap, or it's going to be really amazing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got two big men who are going to be smacking each other, so that's a plus.
And Omos is bigger than Braun Strowman.
That'll be interesting to see how Braun sort of fares with someone that size.
Yeah. And they do a promo basically saying that monsters aren't real, but giants are. Well, if that's the case, then why is the big red monster Kane still terrifies me to this day? But we move. Cameron Grimes next.
Yeah, but you did mention earlier that we had a lot of NXT people turning up on Raw today.
I love this. Cameron Grimes is amazing, and do you know what? The OC are involved. So, to recap, OC is standing there. AJ is basically saying, "Look, don't disqualify me, don't interrupt my match," kind of thing. Cameron Grimes comes over and he's like, "Boys, I've heard you were the people. I've got a little bit of a problem with the schism down in NXT. And I've heard you guys are the people to come to." And AJ's like, "Really?" And straight away, the Good Brothers like, "Well, there's money to be made. There's money to be made." And they're like, "He's $1 million champion, is he not? He's got them, all this." And he's like, "It's crypto, it's worth nothing." He's like,
"Yeah, bitcoins."
And he's like, "Money's money." And turn around and says, "I'll do it for a price," kind of thing. And the Good Brothers like, "Yeah, oh yeah, we'll down. Yeah, you've got your men." And Kyle's like, "Yes, wonderful," and walks off. And this bit for me was amazing because you had AJ walking down with the OC. He's going, "You guys never changed. You left.
No, you haven't changed.
You came back and you never changed. It's all about the money." And then they just go, "It's all about that money, brother."
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that on NXT, because the Schism, quite an interesting group. And obviously they've been causing Cameron Grimes some problems for quite a while now.
Yes.
So be interesting having the OC on NXT and seeing how they go up against the Schism.
Yeah, so we've now got Rhea, Raquel, and the OC on NXT. So we're definitely trying to push for something Survivor Series related, I think.
Yes, could be well be heading towards that.
Next we have AJ versus Dom.
I'll
let you go with this one.
Okay, so AJ came out with the Good Brothers,
Yeah,
and big, huge sort of pop and crowd reaction for them. Made his way to the ring, and then we got the Judgment Day come out, and it's obviously total opposite. Um, Dom was in his ring gear, ready for action.
finally, after an hour and a half.
Finally, yes, he's extended his time from an hour to an hour and a half. And as soon as we started, all that was Dom getting slapped about. I think it went on for a good 5 minutes of AK just beating on Dom.
Yeah.
And the first sort of bit of offense Dom got was predictably from Rhea Ripley getting in AK's face, because she was sort of like all up in front of him going, "Come on, you want to hit me, you want to hit me."
Do it.
And yeah,
AJ in
he
this
was like,
part though was like, you need a good beating.
yes. But as soon as she took his attention away, Dom came through the ropes and laid him out. And then we carried on with sort of Dom having a little bit of offense before AK took control once again.
Yeah. I think for me, so just before we carry on with that, I forgot there was a recap of Bray from SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing. Bray in himself is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And what a SmackDown segment that was. I can't wait for this week's. But yeah, I
Yes.
forgot to mention that. We had a recap of Bray. If you're not already seeing it, what you're doing, you hide under a rock, go see it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had, as we say, AJ took control again. So for me, some of my things was great open. Hothead Dom just gets floored.
Yeah.
You know, it was a simple case of he ran straight for AJ, bang,
Bang,
chest
yeah.
slap, down, done. He's like, oh crap. Yeah, all AJ. Major boost for Dom. As much as people may not like Dom, he's getting such good heel heat.
Yep. Joining the Judgment Day's really been the making of him. I mean, I know like they wanted him with his dad for a while, but that didn't really seem to go anywhere for them. They had they had a good long term storyline with like Ray always being overprotective, and Ray normally costing Dom a match when he was having a match, and it's obviously all built up to this sort of joining the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And that's been going on for quite a while. But they never really seemed to be Dom's character never really seemed to change in that period. I never actually believed he was going to join the Judgment Day, because he just seemed not to be too bothered about it until like the last week or so before he finally turned.
Yeah. It was weird because everyone felt like the point for Dom to turn on his dad had gone.
Yes, yeah, this was the thing. I thought they'd wasted the chance for doing that. And I just thought it was then going to be the same thing continuously.
Yeah. And obviously then all of a sudden we get him kicking Edge in the kahunas,
Yeah.
and here comes Judgment Day Dominic. Now, another thing I've turned now and said to this was Dom looks good, and you can definitely tell he's getting better, but you've got to think of the matches that Dom's had in his time there, really. He's been tag team champion, he's had some good tag matches, but also in the past few months he's faced Edge and AJ Styles.
Yeah, so he's getting some good experience from facing people like this.
Like, he doesn't have to do much in them. He's facing AJ Styles. He's facing Edge. They just do all the work because he's a kid. You know, they just beat the crap out of him, trying to make him a man. And I know we don't like roll-ups. But I think in this circumstance, the best way you can ever have Dom beat AJ is a roll-up.
Yeah.
Now, some will argue AJ's experience should have saved him here. But for me, AJ got distracted. Dom took advantage, got a roll-up, and just skittered straight out of that ring. I think that's a great... Sorry, go on.
Who did the distraction again?
Rhea Ripley, yeah.
Yeah. I think every time in that match that Dom started to get any kind of offense, it was due to Rhea either distracting AJ or the ref. Or
yeah, and Rhea's such a good heel. Rhea's brilliant. There's one thing about Damian Priest. I like the guy. I think his promo needs a bit of work. I think that's the only thing. I think his promo needs a bit of work. Obviously, I can't do promos or anything like that, so I'm not telling him how to do his job. Me personally, promo could be a bit better. But
Oh, I've got another note here about Finn Balor, and I think he is just an amazing heel.
yeah,
Brilliant at it, isn't he?
yeah.
Sort of riling up the crowd, annoying everyone. Um, he's just so good at whatever he sort of turns his
And
mind to.
going back to the earlier thing with Judgment Day and OC, his facial
Mm,
expressions when AJ says, "I'm gonna beat the Messiah,"
mm,
his face is like, "Huh?" Like
mm,
that shocked face that the memed. It's brilliant. Like
mm,
Finn as a heel is brilliant. What I want to do now is what I want to do. What I want to see is the demon gimmick,
mm.
but basically have it try and scare people. You know, have the
Yeah.
demon as a bit of a, he pops up here, a bit like the Bray Wyatt
Mm,
kind of thing, but it's the
mm,
demon. And he only brings it out when there's a competitor such as AJ Styles,
mm.
where he needs to bring out the
Yeah.
demon because even himself he knows he's not
Mm.
there. I
I
get
mean, it'd be a
this.
bit like Chris Jericho in AEW when he brings out the Painmaker. Um,
I love Chris Jericho, but I do think the
mm,
Painmaker and the Drew's Elbow are a bit niche.
mm. Because he's got the line. Oh, we shouldn't really be talking about AEW on a WWE podcast.
Sacrilege.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a
So,
wrestling podcast.
mm,
We're not having it. And then yeah, I give this a 4.5 out of 5.
yep, I
Not
gave it a 4.
for me. It's not so much what's in the match; it's the storytelling behind the match.
Mm-hmm.
AJ's a hothead. He just wants to kick the absolute crap out of Dom. Yes, Dom's being protected, can't win. The difference between him and Roman is that Dom shouldn't be winning.
No.
Dom should be beat the crap out of. Dom should be
Mm-hmm.
pinned 1, 2, 3 in 10 seconds. Whereas getting these things he got Dom got a win over AJ Styles. That's
Yeah, it's
massive.
huge for him, isn't it? I mean, AJ Styles, what, he's got 20 odd years
Ooh,
plus of wrestling
yeah,
experience, and Dom nowhere near as much.
incredible stuff.
So yeah, that was like you said, that was one of the few places that like the roll up is acceptable,
Yeah,
really.
and then we go on to another Dexter well, not Dexter, but Dexter related backstage segment is the Miz and Gargano again,
Mm-hmm.
and he's on about the truth.
Yes. I mean, originally, I know me and you have talked about it before, but we were sort of leaning towards the fact that Dexter Lumis was going to be part of a Bray Wyatt faction, weren't
Yeah,
we, with all this sort of stalking stuff that's been going on. But then as soon as Gargano started talking about how he knows the truth about The Miz and Dexter Lumis, I thought, well, no, then this has got to be something separate because I can't see how this truth would lead into anything to do with Bray Wyatt.
for me, it's like it's another wrinkle to the story.
Hmm.
We now have the truth, whatever this truth
Yeah.
may be. We now have the truth, and it's one of these that's like, oh, okay. So now, what's the story behind this? Is it a case of the Miz did something? Like, I really want to know what it is. Obviously, they're doing well. They're keeping me hooked on. I want to know what the truth is.
Hmm.
And it does make your mind wonder. And
I,
Johnny, gone.
no, you go ahead. Oh.
I was just gonna say that Johnny in this role of he knows the truth. He knows
Hmm.
Dexter very well, and he's a really fun comedic character. But Johnny knows the truth,
Mm.
and also Miz knows the truth. So it's a bit of blackmail on Johnny's side,
Mm.
but he's protecting a friend. Like, weirdly enough, Dexter is the one kidnapping Miz, but yet Dexter's still the face. Everyone's like, yes,
Hmm.
kidnap Miz, get rid of him. When realistically, you should be going, well, hold on a second, he's kidnapping somebody. Is that not against the law? Is that not?
Mm.
And how has he not got a Raw contract when he's appearing every week?
Mm.
I know,
Yeah.
obviously, the gimmick's in the thingy, but he's appearing every
Mm.
week. You go onto
Yeah.
WWE
Security at
roster,
Raw isn't very good, is it?
you go to WWE roster, he's on the roster.
Mm.
Like, take him off the roster would be funny. Take him off the Raw roster and have him not there, and just have him show up. And
Mm.
everyone just be terrified and like, oh god, I don't want to be near that guy. But people seem to love the fact he's taking the Miz away. You know.
Mm.
But Dexter Lumis, I think, has been incredible. Again, he doesn't say a thing.
Yeah.
It's
Now, because what you mentioned earlier about Indy Hartwell, I'm starting to wonder if that she'll tie into this anywhere because one of the things Gargano said was that if people found out about the truth, it would probably cost him his job and his marriage. So I'm just wondering if something happened there that we don't know about.
Did
And
he try and get with Indy Hartwell?
yeah, that sort of thing, maybe.
And it turns out that Indy and Dexter still, they never cheated or anything like that. And Miz
Mm.
tried it, and Indy shot him down, kind of thing. And that's why Dexter's back, is because you tried to get with my missus.
Yeah, and that's like a classic wrestling story, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've tried to get with me, missus, and
I mean, why would you when you got Maurice? But hey, anything happens in WWE. But Dexter Loomis, the fact he says nothing and is so over is down to his expressions and the way he acts. And that's what it should be. You shouldn't have to tell everything through talking. You should be able to tell stuff through how you look, how you act, your expressions and everything. And Dexter does exactly that. Even though he doesn't really talk much, he's there, and his subtle movements of coming up from underneath the ring, and then the Hell in a Cell match, just staring up at Miz, being behind him in these shots, and Dexter's amazing.
I mean, one of the funny things that I really enjoyed about Dexter Loomis was, I think it was Extreme Rules or just before it, where the Miz was beating up the mascot, and then
Yes.
Dexter Loomis came along and beat up the Miz, and then he actually goes and helps the mascot back to his feet. I just thought that was
That was
brilliant.
smart. What was it, high five or something?
Yeah.
And then just walks off with the mascot. I was like, this is brilliant. And then this cuts into the match. Miz walks off. Miz gets ready for his match. Dexter's entrance sounded good, but I'm really annoyed they cut it off.
Yes. Well, yeah, like you're saying about his expressions, he had a really intense look on his eyes for the sort of 5 seconds that he was walking to the ring, and then he got abruptly cut off, didn't he?
Yes. And how did he get cut off?
The Miz with a steel chair.
Not just once, not twice, not 3 times. I counted 8.
He absolutely battered him with it, didn't he?
Yeah, just waylaid him and then gave him a skull crushing finale onto the steel chair. Dexter Loomis is laid out. But one thing from this I got was, when he started walking away, I heard this crowd start chanting, "Tiny balls! Tiny balls!"
Yes.
I was like, yes.
Oh, that Miz and his massive balls has been going on and on and on.
So yeah,
to be honest, I don't care how big his balls are.
No, but I just think it's funny because people are like, you got tiny balls, and in that circumstance it makes sense because he's had to beat Dexter up with a steel chair because he's terrified. He can't face him in a match. You've got no cojones, mate. Just get in the ring and face him. Then another backstage segment.
Yeah, we've got quite a few of these tonight, didn't we?
Yeah.
This one was Damage Control. They're talking about how what's next for them. They were saying, "Oh, what is next for us? We've already taken out Lexa and Oscar." And I believe they due on SmackDown this week to defend the tag team titles against Raquel and Shotzi.
Yes. For me, Io Sky can speak Japanese all day.
I
love it when I don't know what she's saying, but I understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
She's speaking very, not so violently, but very aggressively in Japanese, which clearly, to me, is stating, I'm going to kick your head in. All of you. I'm not a translator, but that's what I can pick up from it. I just think it's brilliant, have her speaking her own language, and just having her say stuff that, if you interpret properly, would mean what she would say in English.
Yeah.
And Bayley goes down the route of, I might have lost to Bianca, but I never got pinned. I've got a pinfall victory over Bianca, and I've got a ladder match loss against Bianca, which therefore means a pin did not happen. And I think, okay, that's a smart way to go about it. But Bayley's facing Bianca next week on Raw.
Yeah, did they say whether it was a title match or not?
It's not a title match.
No, that's what I thought.
I looked at it and I just saw Bianca versus Bayley.
Didn't say women's title. I didn't notice it.
So I wonder if this is going to play into the Crown Jewel, maybe. I don't know if there'll be Crown Jewel, actually. Survivor Series, I'm guessing, is the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're sort of building up to a War Games match, aren't we? With Damage Control and a couple of others against Bianca Belair, maybe Candice now, possibly
who-
Alexa and Oscar.
So let's say we've got Bianca, Candice LeRae, Asuka, and Alexa, and you've got 3 on damage control. So who else out damage control, if any?
Trying to think who would go with them.
The only person I can think would be Rhea, but
yeah, she's
just because she's a heel. But I mean, Rhea in War Games is brilliant. So
I suppose there's always the chance that they could get someone from NXT come up for it.
yeah,
Nikki Ash, maybe, I don't know.
what a better way to return Sasha, I guess.
Sasha, yeah.
If you're gonna have Sasha and Naomi return, Sasha goes straight heel with Bayley. They're like, oh, you've got all these people, you've got this, and even if the faces recruit an extra 5th member, so you have 5 against 3, or who you've got, bam, Sasha and Naomi pop out. Damage control and Sasha and Naomi as heels as well. Okay, but we'll see if they ever come back. By looking at Sasha's account, I don't think she's coming back to WWE.
Not anytime soon.
No, she's changed her handle to her real name. So we'll see on that. Then,
and I think her and Naomi would be a package deal if they would come back.
Definitely. And then we get an Elias return. No Ezekiel.
Did we have Gargano first tell the Miz? They were talking again about the truth. He said he shouldn't have attacked Dexter with a chair. And basically
I missed this.
They sort of just recapped what had been said before.
Because he's going to blow the whistle on him, didn't he?
Yes, he had the whistle out and Miz just walked off.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't much to the segment, just saying, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And this was where he made the comment about if you tell the truth, what you got to lose, your house, your job, your marriage.
Yeah. And it turns out blow the whistle. If you don't say it, I will. So maybe next week on Raw, we may find out the truth or extend that story a little bit. But yes, now it's the Elias return.
Yes.
So we just killed off Ezekiel. We're just done with him now, are we? Because I put in, like, Elias return, why not Ezekiel? I'm a bit weirded out by... I say weirded out. I'm a bit on the edge of, like, well, hold on a second here. We've had Ezekiel for ages and doing really fun skits, and now you've gone straight back to Elias, so we're just going to scrap everything and whatnot. But...
yeah, I mean, one of the things that Elias, I'm getting the two confused now. When Elias came out, he did say, "Oh, my younger brother's had his career ended." So
yeah, cut short. I'm like, how?
Cut short.
Where? Riddle interrupts with bongos.
His bongos, yes.
And I love this comment. Oh, do you want to hit with my bong?
Yeah, well, before that, we had Corey Graves saying, oh, this is the super group, but nobody asked for it.
Yeah. And then Riddle turns around and goes, do you want to hit with my bong? And I thought this was brilliant because we all know about Riddle's lifestyle.
Yeah.
And what he does. And Elias goes, no, not for me. He's like, no, my bongos. These two are brilliant. Riddle and Elias were brilliant.
Yeah, very funny together. They had some good chemistry. You could tell all Elias wanted to do was play his music.
Yeah.
But Riddle was just sort of like, oh, I want to play with you. And he ended up sort of getting Elias to promise that they'd play together in the future.
And then we get Elias starts to play a song. And of course we get stopped because, boom, Seth music hits.
Yeah.
The crowd just went mad again. It's Seth.
I was a bit disappointed I didn't get to hear Elias's song though.
Yeah. Maybe next time.
Next time, yeah. Something to look forward to.
I'll be honest, I really like the start of this match. Seth comes down, Riddle gets... So Elias is on ringside, and this is for the United States title. So this is your main event. And again, the United States title main event, where it should be, as there is no title on Raw. So... they've done very well. But I will give props here to Gunther for the IC title, because to hold that underneath Roman Reigns and to make that feel as prestigious as it does is credit to Gunther.
Yeah.
Massive credit. So I will shout that out. So yeah, straight away, Seth and Riddle go for it. Riddle goes straight into a triangle choke.
Triangle choke, yeah.
Straight away. I just thought this was brilliant. I thought, you know what, yeah, straight play on Fight Pit. Submit
Sort
it
of
straight
carrying
away.
on from where he finished it at Fight
Yeah.
Pit, wasn't he?
Straight away into it. Just Riddle was hot. Riddle was gone for him. There was a really nice superplex off the top rope. Again, a reverse superplex. I again love these reverses. Straight off, and then picks him back up again, and then it's like a reverse Falcon Arrow.
Yeah,
I think is what he did. He picked him up and then slammed him back down again instead of the other way around. Seth's a great wrestler. Always will be. For me again, there was another counter into another triangle. There was a smooth. What you got anything to say?
We had the bit with it looked like Riddle was going to go for, he sort of got Seth out of the ring and threw him towards the announce table, and it looked like Riddle was going to hit a floating bro, but Seth moved out of the way and started getting in Elias's face. And then while the ref was distracted with Riddle, Elias just sort of, I think it was a big knee he hit him with and absolutely flattened Seth.
Yeah, the sound was beautiful.
Yeah.
I've got to say, it connected. And then obviously, you know that's going to play later on.
Yeah, so but I was a bit surprised that Elias was just left out there.
Yeah.
Because even Corey Graves says, "Oh, I don't think he's got a manager's license." And you think for a what is basically their main title on Raw, it was a bit of a weird one to have Elias just sort of hovering around outside the ring.
I've put down these two always have bangers. Seth and Riddle don't miss. I mean, you look at the Riddle Roman Reigns match on SmackDown, the title. That was a banger. That didn't miss. And same here. Like, for most part of the match, it was okay. Like, it hit. Fight Pit was better, and the match before that was better.
Yeah.
And then, so Seth basically is on the outside, and he's goading Elias to hit him, so he can get DQ'd again. And he doesn't do it. And then the ref turns around, and Seth just lays out Elias.
Yeah, just I think it was a big kick he gave him, wasn't it? Knocked him down, and yeah, this is all sort of leading towards the finish then, wasn't it?
Yeah. You go ahead and
Seth gets back in the ring, and he's sort of beating on Riddle, and they get to a point where Seth's got Riddle up on the top rope, and I suppose it was sort of, I don't really know how to describe it. It was sort of, he hit him with one big move and then straight away got back up and basically hit him with a brainbuster that turned into sort of like a side slam. And I thought that was going to be it then. I thought that was going to be a free, but Riddle managed to kick out of it. And straight after that, Riddle put on the triangle choke again. And he held this triangle choke on. It must have been for a minute or two. And all the while, Seth sort of keeps picking him up and he's slamming him onto the mat. He slams him into the turnbuckle pad at one point. And then he finally gets it and puts a sit-down power bomb onto Riddle. And then Seth tries to get hit by Elias. Oh no, sorry, sorry, dude, I've messed this up. My order of notes has gone a bit wrong. The triangle stuff happened before Elias got laid out by Seth.
You fill in the details that I've missed.
Yeah,
because I kind of zone out on bits like that.
And so yeah, this was all leading up to Seth trying to get hit by Elias and then lays him out with the kick. Riddle hits a tornado DDT from the ropes, and then goes hits the DDT that Orton normally does from the ropes, and then sets up for the RKO, but Seth catches him, pushes him, and Riddle goes crashing into Elias, who's got back up and climbs into the ring. And then they're both sort of down on the floor, and Seth hits the curb stomp on Riddle, and that's the end of it all.
I thought this was quite flat.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell something like this was going to be happening with the fact that Seth had knocked out Elias earlier.
Yeah. As you said, Elias gets back on the rope. They got to do something, and then Riddle goes into Elias, curb stomp, and then as soon as that, Elias gets in the ring and also gets a curb stomp.
Yeah.
Cause troubles, because why not? So at that point, I'm thinking, I'm looking at the time, I've got 3 minutes left, thinking, oh, this is gonna be flat. Okay, and then thankfully, Mustafa Ali saves the night. Now, before I go on to the last bit, the match for me was a 3 out of 5.
I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
For me, the match was good. The storytelling I thought was bad because you had Elias lost Riddle, unfortunately. So is this going to lead on to a Riddle-Elias feud?
Possibly, because we're transitioning into what looks to be a Seth and Mustafa feud. So it might make sense now to move Riddle out of that and into a feud possibly with Elias.
Yeah, I mean, I think nothing against Elias. I just think Riddle can do better. I just think Riddle needs to be inserted. Maybe just kind of upper mid-card talent rivalries rather than... or just maybe going on like a solo bit of a story of like how he misses Randy and stuff like this, because Randy should be getting close to return. Cody is getting close to return as well.
Got some big returns to come, haven't we?
Yeah, Mustafa goes straight after Seth, flooring him, cleans him out, which I'm like, yes.
Because at that point, Seth was just about to hit a curb stomp, I think, on Riddle and onto the title as well, wasn't
he was.
Until Mustafa came out to make the save.
Like I say, Mustafa came out to the save. I tell you something, Mustafa got a really good pop. Mustafa got a really good pop. He's literally chucking about the announce table, beating the crap out of him, and then he chucks him over the ringside so that Seth can go off. Now, Seth's comment here was, "You coward." Bear in mind, he's the one running away.
Making it.
I put, yes, push Ali. It's about time. He's a great wrestler. His promos actually were really good tonight. I thought. I was quite, and again, title main event. The US title still feels important. One of my biggest issues when Seth got the title off of Bobby was, I know Seth can hold a title, but can he keep the importance of that title where it was? Because Bobby did a damn good job, and straight away, you've got Riddle versus Seth for the title, which on paper, great, and then straight away Mustafa Ali versus Seth. It's the John Cena Open Challenge aspect again. Up and coming stars, I say up and coming, Mustafa's been around, but stars that should be pushed are about to get pushed. You look back at Kevin Owens from NXT when he faced John Cena. Mega push. Ali may not win, but he's about to look damn good trying to win.
Yeah, and that's what he needs, really, isn't it? He doesn't have to take the title from Seth. If he has a great match with him, which I'm sure they will do, that's going to do wonders for him.
Because you forget that the year Kofi won the title, Mustafa Ali was supposed to be in the Elimination Chamber.
Just going back quite a while, and you know I'm old, so...
So, the year that Kofi Mania happened, it obviously, as we know, wasn't supposed to be Kofi. It was supposed to be Mustafa Ali in that Elimination Chamber, but he got injured. So they brought in Kofi because Kofi can go anywhere, and bam, Kofi Mania started from that. So Mustafa definitely has a chip on his shoulder, not just for that, for other reasons, but he's a bit like Neville when he was in WWE. An amazing suit, doesn't have to hold a title. His work speaks for itself. And he's now called himself the Problem.
Yes, the Problem is gonna cause people problems whenever he turns up.
Which, in all fairness, he's got the moveset to do so. So to sign off, what was your final rating for Raw?
Overall, I gave Raw a 3.5. I enjoyed it. Couple of the matches, like with the outcomes, we had a good idea of what they were already going to be. But the action in the majority of them was good. The storytelling in the Dom and AJ match was good as well. And so, some good little backstage bits, like the NXT stars crossing over. And definitely intrigued by the stuff with Dexter Lumis and what the big secret is.
Yes. For me, I said 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I stayed up and watched it, and I really enjoyed it. Sorry, at not any point really, it doesn't make sense, but I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel like, oh god, going through Raw, because it's 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's a long show, isn't it?
I stayed up till 4 a.m. watching it, and I enjoyed it. OC Alpha Academy was great. I could listen to OC's theme song all day. Really could. Bobby again and Brock, the segment from the start. Just Bobby looks strong. It's how you do it against Brock. He's just manhandled Brock. Who does that? Incredible
not
stuff.
many people can.
Always nice to see JBL. Again, Mustafa Ali finally get a push. Damage control again. Great. Most of it, there was only 5 matches we counted, weren't they?
Yeah, obviously meant they'd advertise a 6th with the Dexter and Miz match, but that obviously was never planned to happen. They just had Miz take him out beforehand.
So we had a 3-hour show with only 5 matches.
That is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, speaks credit to the segment and the storytelling they do in other bits, because albeit the 3-hour show is filled with adverts, admitted, a lot of those adverts come in between segments and matches, so you're not actually missing a lot. It's just a break for them so they can do what they need to do. And I just thought that this was my biggest thing is they keep promoting Bray as he should be promoted.
Yes, yeah. There's definitely a lot to come with that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I'm really excited about at the moment, as I'm sure most people are.
But yeah, so like I say, 3.5 from Saul and a 4 from me. If you guys want to see more of this every Tuesday, if we can, albeit I might have work, but we'll definitely get it done. Hit the like button, hit the comments, subscribe, let me know you want more, because me and Saul are more than happy to do this.
We talk about it anyway, don't we?
Yeah.
So.
It was well, this is the thing. So going off a little segment towards the end, me and Saul literally talk about this after every Friday, after every AEW, after WWE, even TNA and stuff like that. We just talk about wrestling because we love it. And we decide to do something about it, which I think is a really good thing to be doing. I enjoy it. Hope you've enjoyed it also.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Yes. Co-host of Rami and Saul. Link below us is the Twitch handle and my Twitter handle, Mr. Rami Woo. It's the same everywhere else. YouTube, Twitter, Insta, everywhere else. It's always going to be the same. And over there is Saul's Twitch, AcidicSaul09, and his Twitter handle, Saul Vickers.
So down there or over there or somewhere.
Right below you, actually.
Right below me.
Yes,
so I was
right
pointing down to start with.
Make sure you go hit those handles, show some love, and interact with us. But I just want to say thank you for watching. And
yes, thanks a lot.
Until next time. Peace.
Peace.